Bien, este panel será moderado y le damos la bienvenida por Diane Murphy, Founder and President and CEO de Aquarius Group. Diane, thank you for being with us. Welcome. También estarán en esta conversación María José Terré, periodista, Jorge Kerry, presidente ejecutivo de Turner Chile, y Julio Noriega, CEO, Board Member and Multimedia Business Leader, a quienes les damos la bienvenida y les damos la recepción también con este aplauso.
Her own personal life. She's been the host of a TV show, you were host of a radio show.
A radio show.
Cafe Express, and you were 21 Days on the TV show. And she's had quite good experiences, and she'll tell you about those. But she's also going to talk about the personal responsibility that we all have as both creators of content, consumers of content, and what content we share. So with that, there's a great amount of ethics involved in using all these new platforms with all of the abilities that we have now to share news. So Maria Jose.
Thank you very much, Diane, for your introduction. And hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Maria Jose Terré, and I'm a professional storyteller, is what you might traditionally call a journalist. Yes, I have worked in television, I have worked in radio, but I have a problem, because aren't we all storytellers today? Through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, blogs. And as Julio was saying before, I have another problem, because advertisers can single out consumers today. They might not need Be in America, CNN, Chilevisión. So where would that leave me? Who's going to employ me, and with what money? What is my future to become as a journalist? And I want to start this conversation about technologies with a story that dates back to 1833. Because 185 years ago, the United Kingdom abolished slavery. It took 24 long years of campaigning to do so, to make people know, to make people aware, and to care. So I want to start asking you a question. Because which one of you here in this room has a smartphone? Please, if you can raise your hand. Absolutely everyone, right? So how long do you think it would take us, given our technologies today, to abolish slavery? 24 years? No, right? Maybe a few weeks, a couple of months? Does that make us better people or just better equipped? Because we're no longer a passive audience, we're active. I would say hyperactive. We engage with all these technologies, so our message is no longer one directional. There is no longer the television or the newspaper or the radio informing us all the time. Because very often it's us who we're informing the media or others around our community. The spread of the message is one directional. And I would like you to remember a picture. It was a photograph that we all saw about a little boy lying dead on a beach in Turkey after drowning while trying to reach Europe. We all felt outraged. Early on, when I was 22 years old, I volunteered to work in the streets of Calcutta in India. And a few years later, I did so in Angola. I wrote a book about my experience. It's called Feet of Silence. It was an amazing experience. But do you know what I would have really liked? It was to make people aware, to know, and to care of the frustration that I was feeling when I was dealing with a feverish boy dying of malaria. I wanted to communicate, I wanted to let people know, but I didn't have the tools, which takes me to the next level of our conversation here in the panel. The beauty of the moment that we are living today, what I think is very challenging and troubling as well, is not the technologies themselves, but our shared responsibility. And I want you to take a closer look at that word, because responsibility means our ability to respond. And how are we responding today in the midst of these new technologies? Do you think we're up to the standard? And again, how long it would take us to abolish slavery today? Are we only concerned about how the market and the business here is driving these new technologies? I have no problem in addressing that issue, but I think that what is really important is for us to discuss the underlying ethics of this whole situation. Not because I might be a conservative or a liberal, but because I think that discussing the ethics, it would help us to define the technologies, to shape them, but most importantly, to shape us. And who is in charge of that discussion? Is it the panel here? Is it you? Maybe it's all of us together? I have one hope. It's that we cannot be a passive audience just waiting for the new developments to come. And that's why we're here.
A lot less text. That's what I see.
Thank you, Greg. If it was for 5 or 10 years, I don't think that my answer would change. And I want to entitle this book, it's called Amusing Ourselves to Death, Neil Postman. It's a great book where Orwell, in those times, feared of this powerful big brother that would deprive us from information. I tend to agree more to Huxley and Brand New World, where the problem was not the prohibition of information or books. He feared that we would be so overload of information that we would be reduced to selfishness and passivity. And that's something that I wouldn't like to happen.
So I really want to thank the members of the panel here. I want to thank the audience and wish you well in your communications.
Thank you.
Bien,